Hello ladies, happy Tuesday! Sorry I'm a couple minutes late tonight. It was like the last couple minutes of a show and I just needed to watch it. So, it was a good show. I don't know if anybody's ever seen Source Code, but it's a pretty decent movie. Anyways, so, happy Tuesday! Tonight we're going to talk about hand issues. I'm super excited about it. I got my bike. We're going to talk about some levers. I'm going to move the camera around so you can see things a little bit better. And yeah, we're going to talk about hand issues. So if you're on here live, I'd love to know that you are hanging out. And if you are catching the replay, I'd love to know that you stopped by. So today we're going to cover hand levers, kind of our cockpit setup, as we say, some reasons why we have some hand issues, kind of where they might be coming from. Some of them might be coming from farther away than just in this region, per se. And then we're going to cover over 2 different exercises that you can do to help support yourself. And you'll know why it helps support you because of what we cover in the main chunk of this live. So let's go over and talk a little bit about levers and some issues there. So who has hand issues here? Anybody have hand issues that are watching? I know I used to have some hand issues. I've treated a lot of people with hand issues for bike stuff. And it can come from so many different things. Anybody have hand issues here? I know that probably you guys do if you're watching this live. But if you do, then note that it can come from so many different sources. So we can have hand issues that are numbness and tingling, burning type sensations, and those are usually like nerve type things. They're compression of nerves or irritation of nerves. Those nerves can come in through your hand as you put pressure on them, or they can come from your neck. And a lot of people don't think about their neck issue about a neck issue when it comes to their hand stuff, because it's kind of a little bit away. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't have thought about this if I hadn't been told it. And so as we look at where nerve stuff happens, sometimes it can happen, as I said, in the hand, sometimes in the neck. As we look at the hand, we have our carpal tunnel that's right through here, and you can get compression or a space squeeze here in your carpal tunnel because of your finger flexors. There's a little circle that's inside your wrist, and it has a nice ligament or strap that runs across here, and all your tendons for your finger flexors run through there, along with your median nerve. Well, if your finger flexors get swollen at all, or you're like taking up more space than what they should, inflamed, then what's going to happen to that nerve? Yeah, you're right. It's going to get smashed. And nerves don't like to get smashed, especially for long extended periods of time. And so people get carpal tunnel, especially if they work computer jobs, other jobs that involve a lot of gripping, twisting, moving, grabbing. And you can also get it from biking because of the vibrations of the bike, especially like if brake bumps, if you're at a bike park, or if you were over gripping your grips, okay? Remember that. We're going to be talking about grips, okay? Another thing that can happen in our hand for nerve issues is that we have another nerve, our ulnar nerve, that comes down through here. So everybody feel their hand right now. Yep. Snag your other hand, and you can come just up from the wrist, and you'll feel that bone that kind of sticks out. That's your pisiform. Isn't it fun to say? Pisiform. I always like saying that. So just on the inside, towards the thumb side of that, is your ulnar nerve. Runs right through Guillen's canal. All right? Well, that guy, this guy, as you're coming in, if you are pushing a whole lot on that guy, guess what? It'll probably hurt too. It doesn't like it, okay? So we have 2 things now that have pressure on there and also vibration for both of those that's not so hot. If we have a nerve that's already slightly irritated from a neck issue, then we can also have these guys in here be a little bit more sensitive. It's what's called a double crush syndrome. It's where you have a nerve irritation on one end of the nerve and a nerve irritation on the other end. Well, 1 plus 1 does not equal 2. It never does in the body. Let's be honest here. Everything is exponentially worse whenever shit goes wrong. And so if you have a nerve issue in your neck, just an irritation, if you have a stiff neck even, Like even that minor of an issue where as you turn, you can't line up like, I'm sorry, I just grazed my mic. If you can't get to the middle of your collarbone when you turn your head, then you can have a stiff neck. And you can just check this in the mirror. Don't bring your shoulders forward to make it happen. Just relax your shoulders and check your neck rotation. How is it? Can you look up to the sky? Can you bring your chin to your chest? All of these nice, simple, easy things to look at to see if you even have a stiff neck. And so if you have a stiff neck, you can make your nerve a little bit more irritated. Any nerves that come out of your neck, and all of those go down to your arms. Then you smash them with your handlebars, your grips. You over grip with your hand, or you go on a really highly vibrating trail that has a lot of brake bumps. All of those can cause you to have more issues in your hands, more issues with this. And so it's a pretty big issue for that. And so one of the things is decreasing the pressure that you're putting on your hands, basically just offloading it. And then also some things that help with vibration. And then also some things that help with our neck. You're like, oh, this kind of makes sense. Now, we can also have some other things that are not nerves that affect our hands. One is just the fact of how you're gripping, how you're actually taking your finger. Now, we're only supposed to use one finger whenever we break, not two fingers. The reason why, I just want you to take your one finger and pull it. So you have a muscle that goes just distinctly to your index finger. You also have muscles that go to all of your fingers, minus your thumb. It's a little bit separate. And so as you're looking at the extensor, or the flexor digitorum, so that guy goes to all of these. And so that's why it's hard to bend just your middle finger or just your ring finger in that realm. Your pinky finger is a little bit easier. You have a muscle that just goes to that, but I wouldn't recommend breaking with it. You do have one that goes just distinctly to your index finger. And so if you put that guy on there, you can now grip your index finger without gripping your other fingers, as long as your levers are set up correctly. And so I challenge y'all. Does everybody follow me? Does everybody have nerve issues in their hands? Does anybody know that you had an index finger muscle comparatively to the rest of the finger muscles? Is everybody with me? I was just kind of going on a roll because I knew we had a lot to cover. Anybody know that? So that you can flex and move your index finger separately from the rest of your fingers. It's pretty cool, isn't it? I love this shit. It's so cool. And so then that's why as you hold on to your grips that you can grip your brake without gripping everything else. And that's what we want. We don't want a death grip on our handlebars. And there's many reasons why we can death grip. One is for fear, going over different stuff. But we don't want to make it happen naturally. We want to make it not naturally happen. We want to be able to use our index finger separately, y'all. And so making sure that whenever you do grab on, that you can use your finger and not over grip the rest of it. Now, I have separate grips on here that give me a little bit more wideness on the edge, but it's not so wide that I'm gonna smash this lovely guy. And so, you know those bigger grips? Sometimes we'll rely on them even more because they are so big. They're like a platform. If somebody gives me like something to lean against, I'm probably gonna lean against it, especially if it's a big old platform. Same thing on here, I'm gonna lean against it. But if it gives me just a little bit more to change my grip as my hand's going out, then that's probably a good thing. This is also why the ESI Extra Chunky, and I'm not sponsored by any of these guys, y'all. Like, I use this because I like it. I'm only sponsored by Specialized, right? Or Ambassador of Specialized. I don't even think it's called the sponsorship. I don't know. Semantics. Anyways, and so the ESI Extra Chunky can also help with some vibration dampening. It can also make your grip a little bit bigger on your bar And so that'll change your function of how you hang on to your grip and how you can actually relax that grip, because it's a little bit different from what you're doing, and how you can change your lever. Now, as we look at our levers, I'm going to zoom in here. So as we look at these guys, have you guys ever looked at how this stuff is set up? Have y'all messed with it yet? And so as you're doing this, you can have a little adjustment guy right here. There's a little thing that you can twist. You can change how far away this guy is, and you can also move this in and out. So as you're hanging onto the handlebar, you want to be able to comfortably rest this part of your digit on there. And so whenever you want your brake to work, you nicely squeeze it, and you don't have to squeeze anything else. Also, you don't want this guy to run into the rest of your fingers. You want to be able to use your brakes all the way. And whenever you're fully gripped, still relaxing a lot of the rest of the stuff. Your thumb will be working a little bit, but it won't be too much, okay? It's just gonna balance the pressure forward and back, all right? Now, sometimes you'll feel like you need to have those 2 fingers on to grip. That's when you need to change this guy going in and out to help you just use 1 finger for that. And or change the degree of how far the lever is out or in to help you with that as well. There's some other things that you can change in this grip, in this lever, to help you with adjusting it so it doesn't hit your fingers. And so those are all super important. We went over grips and your levers. And so all of these things are needed when you're talking about hand issues to help you, all right? This gives you that change that you might be needing to help you with relieving some of these issues. Now, also, when we're talking about these type of things, we also need to see how far away is your butt from your hands. Y'all, this is called reach. And so the distance between where your butt is and where your hand's attached to the bar. This can be adjusted with your stem length. This guy. It can also be adjusted with the rise and sweep of your bars. So these guys, how much they rise up. You can see they come up comparatively to where they're landing here. And you can also see that they're not, they start here and then they angle back here for their sweep. And so how far back towards me these bars come. This is important for how you want to rest on the handlebars. The less angle that you have, aka the farther away your grips are in a sweep, the more aggressive you have to be with your arms. So the more I have to be elbows out and on it. If I come back through here, then you know immediately where I start resting my weight. Right here on this lovely nerve that we don't want to put pressure on. And so if you have a 5 degrees or less sweep, then you need to be super aggressive with your riding when you're riding downhill. You need to be weighted through here so you can weight through your hand and you can hold that pressure through there, versus as you lower your arms, then you start weighting the outsides of your hands. Now, I don't want you here. You don't need to be here when you ride. Here's perfect, okay? I don't need this guy coming up and over, you putting more stress on your neck. So not like fully out. Here, there's a reason why I chose that picture for whenever I said for that, my hands, I call it my hype post because I'm getting y'all hype for my live. But for my post that I made yesterday announcing that I was going to be talking about hands. And so there's a reason why it's a little bit less for my elbows and not fully out to the side for both shoulder health and neck health, for all of that. And so your sweep, if it's less degrees, it's more aggressive. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know about sweep of your bars and how it affects your hands and the aggressiveness of it? It's interesting, isn't it? I freaking love this stuff. So as we look at our reach, our distance between our butt and our handlebars, now we look at, can you hold this position in a nice straight back hip hinging and not load your hands. Can you take your hands off the bars and be comfortable in that position? Be strong through your trunk as your hands nicely can go back and rest. That's one sign that your reach is in a good position. That you're not like so far over that you can't hold that pressure off without feeling a ton more stress through here. That you can nice and easily put your hands there, but you don't feel the need to really weight them. Okay? That's important. It's good for climbing, just as you look for stuff like that. As you're going downhill, your butt's going to be out of the saddle. And so it doesn't matter as much. It's more between now your feet and your hands, but you're going to be moving around so much. It's more about your shoulder strength and your core strength through that. Anybody have questions on this? Let me see. I think there's a couple people that wrote some stuff. Jenny says, staring at my bike now, wondering what sweep it has. Just see how far out your elbows need to go to feel comfortable, like you're fully weighting on your main parts of your hands, versus if you come back down, how quickly you rest now on these outside parts of your hands. Brooke has a question. She says, I've been moving my stuff all over, can't find a sweet spot. I'm wondering if chunky ESI grips are actually too big. That's a strong potential. You know, I don't use them. I find, even though I have like piano fingers, I like the Ergon GA2 grips a little bit better. They just fit my hands a little bit better through that. So, as we went over this, just a little bit of a recap before we move into some of the muscle things that we can do to help this. So, one, we can have nerve issues that happen between our bike setup and everything. Also, if you have nerve issues, I have some other videos that dive into these guys a little bit more and talk some more about what things you can do for specific nerve issues. I have that if you just shoot me your email, or I'll just shoot you the link to sign up. It'll email you like, I think 6 different videos where I also go over some other handlebar stuff that you can look back in. Just comment like hand numbness or send me the hand numbness thing and I'll get you the link for it. That's free. It's just something I put together just because it's really common. It goes over some sleeping stuff, things of that sort too. What things to watch out for. I've gotten really good feedback on people making some good changes of that. And so, nerve issues through here, nerve issues through our carpal tunnel, how vibration affects that, how gripping our muscles can get tired with that because of how we grip, not gripping with 2 fingers, making sure that we have the aggressive stance for our bars as we need for downhill, and making sure that we are weighting our hands appropriately through that. Padded gloves. I would not get padded gloves to help with an ulnar nerve issue. Just think about like, all right, we don't want to put pressure here, but I'm going to put another layer so it hits here first. Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my mind. It's like whenever I had a nerve issue in my foot and they built up a pad to go underneath the most sensitive area. I'm like, you mean so I put pressure on that first, right? It worked terribly. I sent those guys back. It's like $330 just wasted. Ugh. Anyways, so don't get the padded gloves for this. It doesn't work too well for that. So now we get into more so of, bar width also plays a role. And so making sure that plays a role into your reach as well, and into what shoulder strength you need to have for the bar width that you have. As I talked about in another video, the wider the bars, the shorter the stem. That's more downhill enduro type riding or chunky technical riding. And then the more narrow the bars and the longer the stem, usually that's set up more for cross country or for climbing. And so you're able to get over top the front of the bike a little bit more through that, because more narrow, you can get more forward with that. But I think these are 760, and I have a pretty short stem, which I like. Fits me well for this bike. My friend Annie hopped on my bike this weekend and she was like, oh my gosh, our cockpit's so short. We're exactly the same height and pretty close to the same arm length, just difference in opinions of what we like for our bikes for that. All right, going now into strength, one of my favorite categories. So strength is super important for helping with hand issues. It's super important for helping with neck issues, all of these things. So one thing that helps and will help through all of these aspects is unweighting your hands. Making sure that you can hold load through your core, through your shoulder blades, and support your hands. So have you ever tried to put your hands on and bring your arms out to the side? Well, sometimes you'll bring your arms out to the side, more so using your hands to get them out to the side versus using your shoulders and shoulder blades to get them out to the side. This also can lead to this position through here is where we're actually bringing our shoulders up. I think you'll see this better from the front, so I'm going to change our angle. And so as we're here, you're more here with your body instead of bringing those guys down and keeping your arms out. Has anybody done this? This is a hard position to hold for a long period of time. Yet this is the position that we need to be in, moving around to hold our elbows in a nice position for us to be aggressive on the bike going downhill. Now again, it's not looking like we're trying to go here with elbows. It's nice supported through our shoulder blades and supported through our core. And so as we're looking at doing a lot of these things, do you have the core strength to help you offload your hands? And do you have the shoulder blade strength to support your shoulders? Shoulder blades meaning these muscles through here. Now, if there's anything that I know, is that the majority of us, people in general, need more core strength and need more shoulder blade strength and have hard times activating those two areas. And so those are what our exercises are going to go into. One's going to be a core exercise and one's going to be a shoulder blade exercise. Now, in my programs that I have that are online, core and understanding how to activate that, shoulder blades and understanding how to activate that is super important for me. If somebody comes in with a shoulder issue, with a hand issue, they're going to get shoulder blade exercises. They're going to get core exercises because it's all connected. It's what supports that. And so why not work on that and feel stronger and better on your bike now? And or help with your hand issues that you have. Do you understand how those guys support you? Do you understand how those guys support you? All of these guys. Rosa, Liz is there, particularly up on the core crushers that target some of what you're saying. Rosa, check out the shoulder module, and then also any of the exercises that you're doing in that lovely bent over position, bringing those arms out, doing the W that you were doing the other day. Those are perfect for a lot of these type of things. And so you're already doing it because you're in the team, because you're going through the climb crushers with that. Abby says narrow bars feel less control. I find I've got used to longer bars. Abby, I do not like narrow bars. I'm a wider bar girl. I mean, 760 is not too wide. It's not 800, but I wouldn't want to go any more narrow than that for my bike and for what I ride. But I really like riding rocks and other chunky stuff. Cindy says how core and shoulders go together. Did you just pop in? So as we're on our bike, our shoulder blades help support our shoulders so we can maintain this position for longer. And then our core helps us to not fall down through here. So then as we go out with our shoulders, we're actually able to use our shoulders and not just raise up into our neck, which can cause more stress to our neck, affecting that nerve, those nerves that come out of our neck even more, because these upper trap muscles pull on our neck. And that's what we'll use because we can't access our shoulder blade muscles when we have poor posture. So if we're here, then we'll pull on our bars to do other things like that. And we'll use our neck muscles, our upper trap muscles, which I already use enough whenever I get stressed. And when I'm out of the saddle, being able to maintain this position and move on the bike forward, back, and around without putting too much pressure on my hands and being able to offload them in a nice way and to not over grip with them because I have that security through my core and my shoulder blades instead. Oh my gosh. All right, so now let's hop into our core exercise. So with this exercise, it's kind of a base of a lot of different exercises. So you're gonna start on your hands and knees. Your hands are gonna be back towards your knees. You want a nice flat back through here, okay? And so basically this is a hip hinge that we see. Our back is supported, and then we are moved in our hips, and then our knees are on the ground. You want to keep the weight in your knees, and I want you to just raise your hands up off the ground. And to maintain this body control as you're doing it. You can make it harder by going down, and so you're now more horizontal with your body. And so now you're more horizontal with that, and it's basically a hip hinge hold plank because you're holding it through that. You can hold a weight through here, you can move the weight around, but it's that you're holding your load through your knees, your feet are nice and relaxed, and your back is not stressed. You're using your core to support it, you're using your shoulder blades to also support it, and you feel that engagement through here. So that's exercise number 1. Super base of a lot of other things that you can do for it. It's a fantastic exercise. The next one is going to be where you're on your hands and knees again. You don't have to go fists. I have wrist issues that I go fist for. And then you're just going to raise your arm out to the side and come back down. And you're going to think about it pulling from your shoulder blade in towards your spine as you raise, and you're going to open up your chest. It's not a game to see how high I can raise my arm. As I'm doing this, it comes just out to the side. It's not as far up as I can possibly go. Because as I go up further, you'll see my shoulder actually falls down a little bit from here. This is where it's really engaged and working. And also as you do this, you're going to make sure that you don't raise your shoulder up into your neck. And so you don't want to use this muscle right through here, your upper trap muscle, as you do it. And you need your core on, so you don't just rotate your entire core, your entire trunk as you go. You get that shoulder blade. If you're feeling this just right through here, then we're not using this high enough. You should feel it through here and through here as you open up that chest, as you bring that arm back. Now, if you have issues with activating your shoulder blades, it's the reason why I made a shoulder blade activation module in my team, in my fitness membership. It's because it's hard. Y'all, I had issues with this for so long. And so if you have issues with that, let me know. There's gonna be that announcement, but if you wanna check out the team for that shoulder blade module, it's worth the monthly membership of that, just for that module. There's so many people that are now activating, so many ladies that are activating their shoulders better on the bike because of that module that I wrote and the videos and the exercises that are in it. It's spot on. And so if you have issues with this, you're not alone by any means, but it also means that you probably should work on it, because you'll get issues from somewhere else because of it. You'll get issues in your neck, you'll get issues in your shoulders because you're not activating those guys well. I think there's a couple questions on here. Somebody say, I see people ride in that shrug position. It feels hard to maintain it. Girl, some people ride in that shrug position because they don't have other muscles to integrate to use it. That's the one that they have that is the strongest of them. And or that they get nervous and scared and they go into that, or that's their brace position. And so it's not good to maintain, it's not good to do, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It means that you do need to strengthen up those other muscles that are back there for that. Tatiana said, I go to a PT, but love your workouts because you're a woman and mountain biker and you get what we need to work and strengthen. I love it. Yes, it's so true. Like, I had somebody tell me, because I have an engineering background. And so I have an engineering that now a PT and a doctor at PT, and I love to mountain bike and I want to support y'all. And so like all this stuff is to make you better, to make you enjoy your rides better. If this was, sorry, that was a little tangent. If this was helpful for you, I'd love to know that it was helpful. And I'd love to know what changes that you end up doing. Post in the group, and let's freaking crush it, y'all. Let's get your hands feeling better. Let's get you doing and just riding better, enjoying it out there. Oh my gosh, I love it. Jenny says, is it recommended to work on core first or concurrently? I would go concurrently, unless you have a really hard time working on your core. That's why I like the Climb Crushers in the Ride Life team, is because that it incorporates all those guys together. It has an upper body section, a lower body section, and a core balance section that all mesh in together to make your full calendar. Sweet. All right, ladies, have a fantastic night. I know this was longer because it was a shitload of information. Oh my gosh. All right. Bye, y'all.